Number 12. Note, figure not drawn to scale. The circle shown has center O, circumference 144 pi, and diameters PR and QS. The length of arc PS is twice the length of arc PQ. What is the length of arc QR? All right, so I'm going to redraw it over here. I'm going to draw it a little bit bigger, just so I can really write on it and see things. And my diameters there are not, it's a little better. Okay, so they're going through the center of the circle, supposedly. That's supposed to be my center. So I got S, R, P, Q. Now, when it says figure not drawn to scale, they're wanting you not to eyeball it and go, oh, so this looks like a third of this whole thing. So I know that's a third. Don't do that, because it's not. It will have been deliberately drawn slightly off. May not be wildly off, but it's going to be at least slightly off. So if you try to eyeball it, you're going to get it wrong. Right, we're told it has a circumference of 144 pi. First thing, circumference is 144 pi. I want to find out the radius and diameter of this, because I think that'll be helpful going forward. So the first thing, I mean, it may not, but I like to have all my data in front of me. Now, circumference of a circle, the formula for circumference is 2 pi r, or you can say pi times d, pi times the diameter. So right away, I already know pi times d is equal to 144 pi. I know my diameter is 144. And since c equals 2 pi r, 2r must be equal to 144, because those pi's cancel out since they're the same thing here. So I divide both sides by 2, and I get that my r is 72. All right, this is very helpful. And I know that, circumference is 144 pi. All right. Oh, got rid of my there. Okay, so the length of arc PS. So arc PS is this point. This is equal to, it is, when it says is, that's our cue that means equal. So the length or the measure of arc PS is twice the length of the measure of arc PQ. Okay, so I'm going to put that different color, PQ. Okay, so the measure of PQ, measure of PS. All right, so together, do you see how this is? Because they told us QS is a diameter. It's cutting the circle in half. These two sides, each of them is half of this circle. So that lets me know this length of this full arc from S all the way to Q is going to be half of the full circumference. Well, if the full circumference is 144 pi, half of that is 72, which I already know because I did that when I was trying to find my radius. So the full arc of arc QS, or I could say arc SQ, it doesn't really matter. That whole distance is 72 pi. Now, what is my goal here? Okay, I should say that before I go any further. My goal is the length of arc QR, this right here. Now, what I'm going to do on this side, I'm going to figure out what PS is. Why does that matter? Because I have these intersecting diameters. They're forming opposite angles. Opposite angles have the same degree measure. If I have, in a circle, I have two angles that are central angles. They have a point here that's on the center. That makes them a central angle. If I have two central angles in a circle and they both have the same degree measure, then the lengths of their intercepted arcs, the arcs that are inside them, they are the same length. So this arc is identical to that arc. I'll use 2 there just to make that clearer. They are the same length. They're the same degree measure and they're the same length. So if I find the length of PS, I will know the length of QR. So let's figure out the measure of PS. I'm told the measure of PS equals 2 times the measure of PQ. And all together, they equal 72 pi. So I am going to add them together and then solve. So the length of that whole half a circle, that arc, is 72 pi. And it's the measure of PS plus the measure, does not like when I do dots, the measure of PQ, those together. Okay, well, how can I solve this? I can solve this because I know over here, the measure of PS is 2 times the measure of PQ. So I'm going to replace measure of PS, I'm going to replace that with 2 times the measure of, why does it keep doing this? I'm writing the letter P, come on. The measure of PQ, I'm not writing dots. You just made a pop-up, you just made a post-it note. Come on, man. All right, 2 times the measure of PQ plus the measure of PQ is equal to 72 pi. I know that might look a little complicated with the different numbers, but each of these letters, variables, each of these you can treat like an x. So 2 measure of PQs plus 1 measure of PQs. 2 x's plus 1 x would be 3 x's, right? So 2 measure of PQs plus 1 measure of PQs equals 3 measures of PQ is equal to 72 pi. So 3 times the measure of PQ is 72 pi. Now I can just divide to undo that, since it's, I wrote divide by 2. Silly me. Divide by 3. Those little pop-ups popping up everywhere have thrown me off my game. So I want to divide by 3 on both sides. So 72 pi divided by 3. Let's see, it goes into there. 3 goes in there 2 times 4, 24 pi. And on the side, I have my measure of PQ. I am just in a mood today. There we go. 24 pi is equal to the measure of PQ. And you're like, but Alyssa, we didn't want PQ. We wanted PS. All right. Well, that's why we go back to this. The measure of PS is 2 times the measure of PQ. So it is 24 pi times 2, or 48 pi. Since QR is the same, it is also 48 pi. At that point, once I go back a step just to show you a different way, once you have that a measure of PQ is 24 pi, you could have also gone back this way and said the measure of PS plus the measure of PQ is 72 pi. You could have put in 24 pi right there and solve for the measure of PS that way as well. Both ways work. Math is often like that, where you can do things different ways and get to the right answer. In either event, 48 pi is my answer, and that is B. Hey guys, it's Alyssa, and if you're looking for more SAT or PSAT help, go to mathwithalyssa.com. There you can get over 25 hours of test prep. This is for both math and reading and writing, both sections. They also come with practice questions, downloadable study guides, and more. Links to everything are in the description down below. Leave me a comment if you have any questions about this video or any suggestions for future videos. I'm all ears. And if this video was helpful or useful in any way, please let the algorithm know about it. Like, share, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later. Bye. And I think I slapped my leg because that's something you do. Why do I slap my leg? Why am I slapping my leg as I'm talking? Who knows? I don't know.